Hi guys, welcome to Depot Biz Chats, a place where business owners and business experts discuss pain points and accompanying solutions on how to grow your business, how to expand your business, how to improve your life as a business owner. Let's stop in and say hi to Jules.
Hey there, Jason.
Hey Jules, can you please tell us a little bit more about the Grommet before we dive into our conversation today?
Yeah, we're kind of what a little business might do after, say, a crowdfunding campaign where they're starting to get a real product together, probably did their first production run, and then they want to build a business. So we launch one product a day, and with a video story that we thoroughly researched, and we look at 300 a week. So it's harder to become a Grommet than to get into Harvard.
So after a little reading, I've discovered you guys started in 2008 and you've put out over 2,800 products.
That's correct. Yeah, do the math. If you're launching, say, 5 to 6 a week, which is what we do, that's what happens. You've gotten to know a lot of really cool companies. So in our early days, we launched some name brands that were not name brands. So Fitbit, SodaStream, OtterBox. A lot of Office Depot customers may have whiteboard type paint in their offices. It's made by a company called Idea Paint. We launched bananagrams, 12 water bottles.
I have most of these.
Oh, you have most of those?
Yeah, I do.
You're our target customer then, Jason.
Well, I'm a millennial. I like to stay on top of things. You guys see so much more than you guys put out. It's about 2.5%. You guys see and then actually produce?
Yeah, just under 3 actually, like 2.5%. So, I mean, there's an explosion of interesting new products happening all over the world, and it's a technology story, and we just have the front seat on it because we've been doing this now for almost 10 years. So, you know, virtually everything comes our way at this stage. Well, that's a little bold. I would say there are still, you know, emerging makers who yesterday were a lawyer, yesterday were an ER nurse who've never heard of the Grommet. So we still always want to get the word out, because makers can come from anywhere.
If there's a need for it, if there's a uniqueness to it, you know, we can't have 2 Fitbits doing the same thing. And please repeat the last second and third.
The second thing is how well known is it, and then the third is basically, does it really deliver both on the product and the values that we think we see in it, you know, from the outside. We have to dig in and find out from the inside, does the product perform and is the company what we expected? Because we look at both. Is the company what they say they are?
Fair enough. In this day and age, it's very important for companies and businesses to be transparent, whether you're a maker, entrepreneur. Customers are way more into the story behind the product, the story behind the company. It's not, hey, this is going to make your life 25 times better, guaranteed, so you better buy it.
Yeah,
you know?
I'd say there's this funny thing happening between 2 generations, the millennials and the baby boomers. It's really never happened before. It's typical as people age to become much more interested in experiences and spirituality and legacy. So when they buy things, they're way more careful. But that's what millennials were born doing. Like, they're like baby boomers at age 17, 18, 19. Like, they have those same desires and in impacting the world and legacy. So that's where that rubber meets the road, is like, who's behind this company, and are they doing what they say they're doing, and do I like what they say they're doing? Because not every value is even consistent. For instance, we have companies that are creating jobs in impoverished areas of the world, and then there are companies who are creating products in the U.S. Those are 2 very different values, and one company can't do both, usually, or at least not centrally. So it's not like every company will have the same values. Our community disagrees violently sometimes on what matters, but we present the story, and then the individual decides.
How do people get in front of you, in front of the Grommet?
Super simple. We have a link at the bottom of our site. It's called Become a Grommet.
Okay.
And it's piece of cake, probably takes 5 minutes to fill out what we need to know. And we look at everything there. That is not, just going to nowhere. It's going right to the people who are looking at everything that comes.
I'm going to drop the link in our video description, but let me first segue into your book, which is coming out soon, right?
It's actually, this is pretty funny. I have my computer sitting on the first draft of the manuscript. It's about 2.5 inches thick. I wanted to raise my computer a little bit. It's literally in first turn of, and it will come out in January. It's a McGraw-Hill publication, and it's a how-to for aspiring makers, how to build vibrant consumer businesses.
Is there anything that some of our viewers might really benefit from learning today?
Yeah, I tell you this, when we meet these companies, the products are uniformly brilliant or they wouldn't be Grommets. So that's not usually an issue we have to work through. But the business function of a company, usually in the book, I describe 16 things a maker needs to master to be viable. And these companies usually come out of the gate good at 8 by hook or by crook and bad at the other 8. And we never know which it will be. Some of those weaknesses are fatal and some are not so important. So the book's meant to shore up whatever and be read in any order. But I would say some of the core things that I see right up front that people should think about would be, first of all, make sure that the market you're addressing is big enough to be worth the sacrifice that it will take from you. So a lot of people just sort of plunge in based on very little feedback. They don't really qualify the size of the market, and they don't really think about, what part of it they might be able to get. Sounds basic, but it's hard to do, and when you're excited, you kind of blow through that step. And it breaks my heart when I see somebody addressing a very, very small market, because it's going to be expensive and difficult to address that one. Why not address a bigger market? So start there. Qualify your own enthusiasm and idea. Secondly, I would say one of the things I see is a mistake is in physical products is people don't understand the cost structures of what your product should cost. So a really good rule of thumb is your manufactured landed cost. That means it's in your hand in a packet. And that cost should be 1/5 of the retail cost. So if a product's going to be $25 at retail, get it in your hands for $5. And why such a big spread? Because between the marketing either you will do to acquire customers or the margin you need to give retailers, you will need to have plenty of money to run your own operation and acquire customers. So retailers expect 50%, but even if you go direct to consumer, you're going to need that same exact margin to acquire customers, because what retailers have done for you, you're going to have to do for yourself. And it's super expensive. Another thing I see in the very early stages is people name their company and name all their marketing, or design all their marketing around the product itself. So I'll give you an example that's not a physical product, but when TaskRabbit started, I was friendly with the founder, the service to get your stuff done. They called it Run My Errand because that was the initial concept. And that's too narrow. Run My Errand does not include handling paperwork or getting IKEA furniture built and the things that many people have expanded the service to do. So physical products, they'll often name it after just the very first product. And I think it's very important to think out an entire product line that you might pursue. You might not do it initially because it's too expensive, but name the company after that, because retailers will want to have a broader line than that single product. And you yourself will too, even if you're going direct to consumer.
So they eventually changed the name to TaskRabbit.
They changed the name about a year or two into it. So they didn't get too far down the road, but they did change it. And like I said, I see it all the time. I'll give you an example. A very successful product at the Grommet is a line of men's grooming products. And it's everything from shaving gear to body wash to soap. And their first product was tactical soap. It has this sort of tongue-in-cheek military vibe to it. So if they called the company Tactical Soap instead of Duke Cannon is a mythical figure, sort of a mythical marine who's kind of like the spokesperson behind the scenes for the company. If they had gone after Tactical Soap and then they wanted to do body washes, or Duke Cannon could be belts, it could be shirts, it could be gear, it could be anything. So, imagine your own success, basically, and name the company after that right from the outset, as opposed to just a very narrow product name. Another one that hasn't been renamed, but we have this really successful product invented by a retiree, actually, and it's NEGG, N-E-G-G, and it basically sort of a condensation of naked egg, because it's a little tiny device to peel eggs really quickly without any hard work. And if I were advising Bonnie, she didn't ask me, I would tell her, maybe don't call the company NEGG, because you're probably going to do other kitchen gadgets. It's not terrible. It's kind of in a middle ground where NEGG isn't so literal that it limits her, but she might have thought of other products that would want a different name, and she'll maybe rename the company still, but NEGG is kind of neither here nor there. It's not sort of aspirational, and it's not quite descriptive of the product that she already released.
A lot of people do think in the present when they have something really exciting, but it's true. You should be thinking in terms of your success. Where will you be in 5 years? Are you going to be selling one product in 5 years, or are you going to have a line? That makes perfect sense.
What's your killer app, would you say, in Office Depot? While I'm editing my book, I want to make sure I say, go to Office Depot 4. What do you think you find the most success with?
That's a good question. I would say I'm most excited about our logo design services. You have a system where you have two designers doing two different concepts, two logos.
I like that. So it's more concentrated than 99 designs. There's more commitment, right? Because it's just two designers. I like that. Okay, I didn't realize that's how you did that. That made it into the book, Jason. Good work.
And there are options, I think, where you can add more designers or more concepts if that was something you need.
I like two better. Two, I want people who are committed. I don't want 99 designs. What I don't like, first of all, I think a lot of the quality can be really bad. But the reason it's bad is because, you know what I'm talking about, the one where you kind of throw out a spec, and then people sort of scrum and throw in their ideas hoping you'll buy their idea. Because they're trying to scrum and they have no promise of a real job, you can't spend much time on it. So I'm not suggesting designers are bad, they just don't have a lot of time. And I see friends run off with these really half-baked ideas off 99 designs, whereas if I think two's kind of perfect, because one may just not nail it, but you got enough commitment if you got just two on the job. And that matters too, because let me tell you, when we started the Grommet, we had kind of a misfire on the first logos that came back from our designer, who is fabulous. But he heard, for some reason he overheard an emphasis on how women would be major customers, and women are, who might be mothers. And we must have talked about that. I'm sure, he didn't make that up. But the first logo, one of the logos he came back with was like a little kangaroo with a baby kangaroo, and I wanted to throw up on it. It had nothing to do with what I saw as the outcome of the business in terms of serving up brilliant products of any sort, technology to gear. And I wasn't going to make the logo about the customer. The logo was going to be way more about what we were delivering to the customer. So that kangaroo was adorable, but it was for somebody else's business, not ours.
This is a great question that I want to ask. I just said my own question was great. Sorry. I'm just really excited. But you saw that logo, and how did you know that wasn't for you? I mean, did you already come in with an idea specifically, or was it a gut feeling?
Well, first of all, as the client, I took it upon myself that I had given a bad brief or an incomplete brief, and there were other ideas in the first concept round that were way closer to the mark. So I wasn't like, up a river with no paddle, because that would be hard to tell a designer, like, throw everything you just did out because you totally misfired. So I focused on the ones that made more sense to begin with, and I qualified, like, when the person sees our logo, I want them to think about what we're going to do for them. It's not about who they are, it's what we're going to do for them. So if you look at the current Grommet logo, it is abstract. It's not like we tried to render a picture of a brilliant product, but there's a physical artifact that's riding on top of the logo. It's a kind of a hand-drawn rendering of a grommet, which is a physical item. And that was like an abstract way of representing all the products that would be sort of encompassed by that grommet. Like, that's part of my own conception of the name, is we're this humble company that sort of quietly protects and surrounds a maker's product and helps get it to market. Cool. See, I did the arms.
Yeah,
I
noticed it.
Like, I feel it. I feel it. So a founder feels it. You feel what it is you're trying to do. The trick is being able to communicate it. People are at different levels of that, and experience as well. Like, I'm super experienced because I am a designer, to be able to articulate these things. But you don't have to be, somebody else to be better at something I'm not good at. So you play with the strengths you have and the ones you don't have.
Right.
I try to be humble. I hire really well for the expertise I need, and I don't override them until, I give them a ton of trust.
Okay. It would be impossible to do something that big by yourself. So you have a team with experts in their fields.
We have 90 people. For the beginning of the company, we had, say, 6 for the first month or so. Like, it wasn't just 2 even. And then it was, for a really long time, about 10 to 12 people, like a few years. It was a couple years too long at that small stage. But one of my tenets about starting a company is, if at all possible, have a co-founder. I have a brilliant co-founder. We complement each other. We're pretty opposite, except that we share the same intentions for the business and the same kind of ability to make the hard decisions in the same way. We knew what we were going for. And the reason I say that is the highs and lows are so extreme, and it's kind of uncanny when you're pursuing a business how one person will have had a great day, something wonderful happened, the other person, got knocked down. And it's pretty rare that we're both down or both up at the same time, even to this day. But especially in the beginning, that's really useful. I like 2. I'm an entrepreneur resident at Harvard Business School, and I also see teams of 3 and teams of 4. 4 is way too many. There's no accountability.
I learned that in school projects.
3's okay if you have the right 3. But I think 1 or 2 are better than 3. Sorry, no, 2 or 3 are better than 1, but 2 is my favorite.
Tell me if I'm wrong in this, but isn't that kind of what the Grommet is about? This maker or 2 makers, they're on an island, and the Grommet comes up on this boat and says, "Hey, get on here. There are these other islands we can get you to, so people can see what you're doing."
Well, there are a few ways we do that, but I think one of the most important ways we do that, 2 ways. The hardest problem that these makers have to crack is getting awareness for their product. I have learned, if you build it, no one comes. Like, there's no such thing as, if you build it, they will come. And, it's because it's a busy, crowded world, and marketing and building awareness is an expensive, sophisticated thing to do. And it's really hard to, like, point to yourself and say, "Look at me, my product's great." No one believes that, right? Like, it's very, very hard. But when we come in with this independent perspective that's built trust over years, when we say, "Hey, this thing, Fitbit or Swell, it's great," we're trusted. So building that kind of awareness at a scale, which we can do, is super important. But we learned along the way that wasn't quite the whole story. You have to have retail partners. I mean, that's my bias, that retailers exist for a really important reason, to help finish that job, right? We can take it out digitally. We can build a lot of a great feedback loop and learn what people think. build awareness, but 94% of purchasing happens offline. So whether it's online retailers or offline retailers, they play well together. And so that's the second half of the business we built once we got our sea legs on the consumer-facing side by having partnerships like Office Depot. We have a partnership with Ace Hardware. We've worked with a few, and it is just a few. We are very careful about these partnerships. Makers have, they want to be sure the quality is there. You need a retailer that's going to care about the product and know its story too, because they're not just me too. And the risk for these companies is if the retailer doesn't know the product, you're going to walk right by it. You're not going to have the proper displays
Right.
or sales staff.
Right. No one to talk
the
to.
support that a brilliant product needs, because even on Amazon, they're completely varied because nobody's searching for a product they've never heard of, right? But in a store, you have this huge advantage of being able to touch it, talk to somebody about it, turn the package over. You weren't necessarily searching for it, obviously, because you didn't know about it, but you have a chance to discover it. That serendipity and smart kind of discovery is what retailers can enable so much better than digital.
Best part of shopping is discovering something new. Jules, thank you again so much.
Thank you, Jason.
This was a lot of fun.
We should do it again.
I completely agree. Thank you.
All right.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.